Okay, I think it's live. Okay. Hey everyone. So we will be discussing Spider-Man. All right. Okay. So hi everyone. We are Pure Fandom, a website where pop culture geeks and nerds can read recaps, react to TV shows and movies in near real time, watch Comic-Con interviews, especially this weekend, keep track of everything, engage in discussion, and basically play in all the fandoms that all of our writers and people are involved in. This is our third live panel discussion. Yay! Previously, we did Rogue One, and then we did Wonder Woman. Today, we will be discussing John Watson's Spider-Man Homecoming, which hit theaters July 7th, 2017. I'm Jasmine, and I've got Courtney with me.
Hi, guys. I'm Court. I write for Pure Fandom, and I podcast different sci-fi shows with Brad Z for Brad and Court Talk. Writing and reading and as many books as possible has always been my passion, but TV, like I've been a TV junkie for forever. Like people used to call me like, Court, I'm talking about 8 years old, Court, what's on tonight? What's going on? Because I used to read the TV guide too and memorize it.
Love that. I love that. That's amazing. I love that. You're like finally in like this is all paid off and everything.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm Jasmine. I also write for Pure Fandom. And right now I'm just kind of like in a myriad of different fandoms and everything. But right now we're just doing live panels and stuff, so that's super fun. In my real job from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., I work for a tech company. But also I thought it'd be really fun before we talked about Spider-Man Homecoming, who our favorite Spider-Man was before Tom Holland, because now he's everyone's favorite. So Courtney?
Well, see, I'm old head. I grew up in the 90s and I spent my Saturday mornings with the X-Men and the cartoon Peter Parker. So I enjoyed him. And I really wasn't into Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So when Andrew came, I thought he was perfect. Like he was the perfect smart aleck. Spider-Man Peter Parker. I was really disappointed that he didn't get to finish off his trilogy. And when they announced a new Spider-Man, I was like, again, like I don't want to. And I was hoping they would do I can't remember, Miles. I was hoping they would use Miles because we've already seen Peter Parker like a couple times. But when they introduced this Peter Parker in Civil War, I was like, oh, he's kind of cool. I like him. And after this movie, oh my God, like he will be my favorite after we see more movies.
Yeah, for sure. I know that when the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man came out, I was like, this is so cool. I love Kristen Dunst, so I was just like for it. But then like I just got really tired of his whole like woe is me, and, like him being like this super stereotypical nerd type of Peter Parker. And I was like, I feel like this isn't really Peter Parker, because he's like this like sarcastic guy who like can go head to head with Deadpool. And so I'm just like, so that was why I was super excited for Andrew Garfield. And Andrew Garfield, as of now, is still kind of my favorite Spider-Man. I do love Tom Holland's Spider-Man on Peter Parker, but like he looks like a baby, and it just really like freaks me out, like how cute he is and how like ripped he is. I'm just like, right now it's Andrew Garfield. But the reason why I really liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is because one, his butt is fabulous in that costume.
Oh my God,
great. Yeah. And then he was like the hipster geek version of it, which was right up my alley. And then also it kind of like made it a little bit more like culturally relevant than the Tobey Maguire one. So that's why I liked it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do then, Andrew Garfield is our grown-ass man, Peter Parker, and Tom Holland is a little baby Peter Parker.
Yeah, okay. For sure. I'm going to say that they exist in the same universe, so it's fine.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go into talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. And as always, spoilers galore. It has been out for a couple of weeks, but still some people might not have seen it. If you haven't, why not? But go away. Go see it and come back, and we'll have the live panel for you to see on YouTube, the YouTube channel later on. So yeah, and let's start by going into talking about our what we liked about the movie, specifically about our favorite character. Courtney?
Okay, so like I said, initially when they announced this Spider-Man, I wasn't really enthused. We'd already seen Peter Parker a billion times, and I was like, nah, I'm done. But when they introduced him in Civil War, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Well, a couple of things I really enjoyed in this version. I really like that we got Tony Stark, because Tony Stark, Iron Man, love him, he's the best. I like that they didn't make it Iron Man 4, like I was getting very worried about from some of the promos. Like Tony was there just as a mentor. And I like that Peter kind of came into his own in this movie. Like he was trying to become an Avenger, but like he discovered instead Spider-Man. Like he started to be more like the character that we kind of fell in love with over the years. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I have loved Michael Keaton for forever, since Mr. Mom and Beetlejuice, 80s, Batman, whatever. He's amazing. I liked all the little Easter eggs. Loved seeing Donald Glover, seeing the development of different relationships in Peter's life. From the first two, I don't remember seeing too much with relationships. Sure, we got to see his friendship with now I can't, I'm spacing out, James Franco's character
Yes.
in the first one. But like in this one, I feel like we got to see a lot more of his different relationships. We got to see him with Tony. We got to see him with his friend Ned. Is it Ned?
I want to say it's Ned. Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry. And like his new love interest, who was not MJ or Gwen. That was new, and I was a little resistant to it at first, but I was like, oh, she's kind of cute. I like this. And then that whole twist we got at the end, worth it. That was perfect. I liked the new MJ that we got. We'll talk a bit more about whether or not she was MJ and how I feel about that. And Marissa Tomei as Aunt May, like that's amazing. Like she's the best.
Yeah, for sure. It's also really I like that you said that it's his relationships with other characters, because yes, especially in the Tobey Maguire one, it was like he's supposed to be like this loner who like has no one and everything, and Aunt May is like way older than obviously Marissa Tomei's character is. And something that I did like that you couldn't tell in the Tobey Maguire or even the Andrew Garfield version is that they're at a school specifically for like super smart, super bright kids. And so I know that I was like reading the IMDb trivia, and they were saying that they upgraded Flash from like the typical jock bully into like the geek who's like privileged and just like mean because he could be mean, and I really like that.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, and then also like the whole decathlon. I mean, like obviously it was set in Washington D.C. so that he could like go elsewhere, but it was really cool that even the most popular girl in school, she was on that team and she was excelling and stuff like that. That was really, really cool. Also, like, okay, so one of my favorite movies is Only You, and the minute that Robert Downey as Tony Stark was just like, how's Aunt May doing? I was just like, that has to be a throwback to Only You. And I was just like, they need to have one scene together, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aunt May was hysterical. She was really funny. I liked how she was like oblivious of like everyone thinking that she was like super hot and like attractive, and then she had like those huge dorky glasses in that Thai food scene, which was hysterical. Yeah, so like you said, I also really liked, I called Michael Keaton's character Birdman for the longest time. I know it's Vulture, I do, but I was just like, Birdman! So I think, honestly, he was my favorite character, just because, like, especially I was so confused in the first couple scenes when it was like they did the flashbacks. It was right after the first Avengers movie. I was like, are we going back in time a little bit? But like he obviously sees himself as a victim, but it's not like he sees himself as the victim kind of thing. It's like, no, he got really screwed over. And he hates the Department of Defense for a legit reason and stuff like that. And literally when they said that he was, why am I blanking on the love interest's name? Liz, yes, it's Liz, yeah. When they revealed that Michael Keaton's was Liz's character, like when he opened the door for Peter, I like literally gasped out loud, and like a friend who was next to me, she's like, what? I was just like, what's happening? So that was very cool. Yeah,
that was a good surprise.
Yeah. So Courtney, what was a favorite scene of yours?
Oh, wow. I have a list for you, because if I didn't say it already, I love this movie. I love this movie so much. I liked that whole scenario when Peter got stuck in the fort with all the weapons and everything, and he couldn't get out. And then all he had come for company was, can we talk about his suit? The one that Tony gave him. So I really liked that bond that he had with the suit. It kind of reminded me of Tony and Jarvis. And you know who voiced the lady in his suit, right?
Yeah, Jennifer Connelly, his wife.
Yes, yes.
Amazing.
That was amazing. So now she has to get a body, like for real, and come on as Jennifer Connelly and meet Vision. Like, just saying.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Elizabeth
absolutely.
Olsen. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes, that whole scenario when he was stuck in there and then you find out like only 30 minutes had passed.
Yeah, he
I
was like
love that.
37 minutes, and I was like, that is so accurate. It was
Yes.
so funny. I liked it when he like just randomly put on his decathlon suit jacket. I was like,
Oh
why?
yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, that's from the poster. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah,
I love the scene at the Washington Monument. Like that's one of my favorite action scenes in the entire movie when he does the rescue, and then of course the ferry scene when he has all the webs kind of pulling things together and just it breaks apart.
hmm
Like
yeah.
I like that.
I think so. I had written down in my notes that something that had bothered me just a little bit was like his kind of over enthusiasm for like saving people, which is not a bad thing. But like the entire movie is about him being like, I'm important too. I have these abilities. Like, let me prove it to you. And
Mhm.
so when he like royally messed up on the ferry, because he didn't realize that Tony was actually like, doing surveillance and had like the FBI and Department of Defense on it.
Mhm.
And then when he, intercepted the bad guys wearing the Avengers mask, and then
Yeah.
he had them accidentally destroy the deli and everything. I
Mhm.
was just like, part of me was just like, oh my god, why is he doing this? Like, why can't he like help himself? But then I was like, also like, this is actually really awesome. He's
Mhm.
supposed to be playing the 16-year-old who is so eager to like be considered one of the Avengers that he'll just do anything to like prove himself. But
Mhm.
like as a 16-year-old, he's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna like be like risky and everything like that. So a lot of it, especially with the fairy tale, I was like, no, stop, like leave it. There's gonna be something happening. But I was just glad that he did get that dressing down from Tony Stark, and it was awesome that Tony was just like, be better than me.
Yeah.
And I know that like the reoccurring thing in all the Iron Man movies is that he's not a good character.
Mhm.
I mean, he's not a good person, and he's like trying to make up for the atrocities and everything. And anyone who like models themselves after who Tony Stark supposedly is
Mhm.
has like the wrong idea. So I did really like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
definitely one of the huge overarching things that I enjoyed with the movie. The fact that he's baby Spider-Man. He's still learning and becoming the Spider-Man that we know he'll become eventually. And I like that Tony was able to help him in the way that he was um, by cutting him off and letting him get back to his roots and having his old school costume instead of the robotic one that Tony had built for him. I thought that was really cool. I
Yeah.
also like that Tony had all those subroutines built into the new costume
Yes, the training
with the
wheels
training wheels.
protocol.
Yes, yes.
That
Like that
was
was
so
so
funny.
cool. And the fact that he had the suit bugged. Of course he would have it bugged. And he knows where
Mhm.
you are all the time. Like it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just like, also, it was really interesting that, not really interesting. It was funny when they had Ned be like the guy behind the computer.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know. He was really, even though he like went along with deactivating the bug and everything on Peter's costume, he was like very logical, and he was being like, we are kids. Like, you have a Spanish exam. Why are you like getting out of it? So it was just really funny having him there, because you would assume that someone enamored with like superheroes and like saving and everything would equally have friends that are like that. But
Mhm.
it's good to have like Ned is like, no, we need to finish school, stop being stupid. It's like, listen, there's a reason why there's a training wheels protocol and everything like that. So that was
Yeah.
really cool.
Because it makes sense. You need that balance. Just like Tony has Pepper. Like
Mhm.
she is that balance for him. Like he's gonna do that off the wall crazy stuff and she's gonna say, no, let's do this instead. Like
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
okay here.
hmm Ooh, now that you brought up Pepper, let's talk about how she had a random like minute long cameo at the end
Yeah.
of this movie.
Yeah. Totally didn't expect to see her at all. For some reason, I thought she had quit acting, and I
Yeah,
thought they were done
same.
anyway after what was it, Ultron? When I guess
Yes.
we found out that they had broken up.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So I
seeing her again
wonder.
was cool.
Yeah, I wonder if then that was the point why when Happy threw them the ring, Pepper was like, oh, of course. But then this is also why I need a timeline, like an exact timeline of when these movies happen. Because if this happened before Age of Ultron or after Age of Ultron,
It had to be after because they talked about the Accords.
oh, right. Okay. Okay, then that's probably why she was just like, fine, whatever. We'll just go with the fact that we're getting engaged or something with the
Yeah.
press at the
Like
end.
I think they're back together, but like there was no fanfare, as there shouldn't be. Like it was just a thing.
Yeah,
So it
but
was
that was really
cool.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was just so funny. Oh my goodness, no. Okay, so since we talked about things, do you have anything else you want to talk about, things that you liked before we go on to things we didn't like about this movie?
Like we said, or like I said, Donald Glover. he
Mm.
had that whole Easter egg, and I haven't really read a lot of the Miles Morales comics. I just know who he is, and Brad was talking about Brad's in love with the whole thing because he wanted to see a change too. And I'm finding out that Donald Glover is the uncle of Miles Morales was a really cool Easter egg. So I'm like, we'll have to see him again. We'll have to see a lot more of him again, and
Yeah,
Miles. Like that has to happen.
Yeah, it was really funny when he was just like, "You need to be better at all this," and he was just
Yeah.
like, clearly. And he said that the changed voice of Peter Parker was like, it does not sound like the girl that it sounded like earlier. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really funny. Yeah. Oh wait, okay. So actually, let's talk about the other because I only watched the movie once, and so I wasn't really keeping track of like any other Easter eggs. Were there any other Easter eggs that you came across?
Oh god, there were plenty of Easter eggs. There were a couple of throwbacks to the older movies.
Mm.
Like there was that one scene where it looks like he was gonna kiss Liz when he had the suit on, but of course that didn't happen. But and we know that was from the first movie. And apparently there was another Easter egg for Amazing Spider-Man, but I can't remember what it was.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think it had something to do with the deli.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Not sure. I also need to rewatch The Amazing Spider-Man. Also, I
Oh,
am really sad that there's going to be no more movies. Like, I feel really, he was signed on to do like 2 more. I was like, no.
who?
Uh,
Andrew?
Andrew Garfield. Yeah, he was supposed to be
Yeah.
like in cameos for like other stuff. Yeah.
Maybe like they'll be able to bring him back somehow in this. I hope the whole relationship wasn't that toxic. It really sucks that they cut him off the way they did.
Yeah.
However, we're not talking about it, but the second movie, I was disappointed in the second movie. As much as I love the Amazing Spider-Man, I was really disappointed with what they did in the second movie.
I honestly want to say I did not see that.
I saw it once and I skipped the ending because I knew what happened.
Yeah. I'm like really trying to. Oh yes, yeah. I did not see that. Once I found out that they were putting Emma Stone's character in the actual arc of Gwen Stacy, I was like, no, it's fine. I don't need to see it.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's see. Yeah. No. Donald Glover was awesome. There were. I feel like I wrote a note about this, and I can't remember. Oh. Yes. So Peter Parker. This one. He. Actually, no, we'll talk about it when we talk about MJ later on. So let's talk about things that we didn't like. So what were some things that you didn't like about it?
I kind of mentioned this earlier, I think. The whole thing with Happy, maybe it was the fact that he didn't want to babysit a 16-year-old, or he had other things that he needed to be doing, or I don't know, but he was just really douchey to Peter, and I didn't understand why. Like Peter was really excited and he wanted to be involved, and he was such a sweetie, and like he was just in all these text messages and videos, and like he would never get a response. But we do find out that he was passing information along to Tony. It's just that he wasn't responding to Peter, and I just wish he could have been not such a douchebag about it. I mean, we could have still seen Peter doing the whole thing where he's growing as Spider-Man by himself, but like Happy could have just done it differently, like not have been an ass.
Yeah, for sure.
I know he was distracted with all this other stuff that he was doing, but Tony specifically asked him to watch out for the kids.
Yeah, and like a lot of it has to do because Happy wasn't responding that Peter was like, let me take it upon myself to save or like be better than being like the neighborhood Spider-Man. But yeah, because it was just really frustrating because like I know in the very beginning when it was like set up as like Peter was kind of like recording everything on his phone, I can understand why Happy was annoyed by that. But then like constantly like afterward, which was hysterical by the way, he was just like, we're sharing a wall. The walls are very thin. It's like stop bouncing around. That was so funny. Tom Holland is the cutest little, just precious, so enthusiastic and also so attractive. And I'm like, stop it. Can't be both. But what is it? Yeah, no. And so I was just like, and especially when Happy was basically saying, like shutting it down is just like you don't understand what's going on, so you can't do anything. And it's just like, no, you're basically pushing him into being like this reckless kind of show them that we can do it kind of thing. And then even at the very end, after Peter saved like the vulture from stealing the plane and like diverting it and everything, it was more, I didn't get like a satisfied, oh, I'm sorry for kind of like underestimating you. It was just kind of like, oh, I mean, for a good reason, he's shocked because he didn't expect that it would be diverted and like whatever. But I was just like, Happy, in other movies, you're not such an asshole. And
it's like Tony was the good cop and Happy was just like the bad cop, like all the way around.
That's actually really true. Yeah. And like it was funny when what is it? When in the very beginning when Tony gave Peter the suit and then he had to take it out of the trunk, like that was really funny, but that just kind of like went on and on and on. And
Yeah.
so it's like Tony is like, and it was weird putting Tony in that role as like the well-meaning I mean sorry, not like in the opposite of what Happy would have been. I don't
Yeah.
yeah.
But I can't understand why they did it because when he took Peter with him and they got in that huge fight and then Peter got hurt, he kind of switched over from okay, I'm going to use this kid to do what I need him to do to oh crap, this kid almost got hurt and he's a freaking kid. Let me watch out for him. So hence the training wheels and I guess helping him training to become the eventual Avenger without letting him know that yeah, kid, I'm going to let you be an Avenger. Like
Yeah,
just be a kid
yeah.
first.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I just hope that in the next couple movies, Happy's not going to be like that. Yeah.
I hope not either.
Yeah. I mean, I love Jon Favreau, and I'm just like, I don't want to not like you. And I feel like if
Right.
you continue being a mean bully to Peter Parker, I will not
Yeah,
like
like
you.
you can't be this guy who loved down Abby and then just mean to our baby Peter Parker. Stop it.
I know. Yeah.
Like,
No,
were
no,
you jealous because Peter has this place in his heart for Peter? What's
no.
happening?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Initially, I was a little upset with Peter with his obsession over becoming an Avenger. I'm like,
I know.
kid, do you? Like, you are the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like Tony said, like you go do that. That's your thing. And then at the end of the movie, when it was about to happen, and I was like, no, don't do it. And he's like, yeah, I'm not ready for this. I just want to be a kid for right now. I didn't like the fact that Tony really did have a press conference on the other side of the door. I was like, you know, he's not ready. What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. It's like it should have been a test. But then
Yeah.
I was, yeah. So, I mean, it was funnier when they revealed that there was a press conference, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, 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 no.
Yeah. All right. So I know some people had problems with the suit
Yeah.
that Tony made for him. They were like, well, this is not how Spider-Man is supposed to be. Like he's supposed to have just the regular fabric suit and like his powers are him being able to climb on the walls and everything and do all the special stuff without the assist from the suit. So what did you think?
So, okay, so the really funny part that I really liked about this movie is being like, if someone like him is making a suit by himself, it's gonna look like that shitty like sweatpants, goggles kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it kind of made no sense that in other versions he himself would make such a high-powered suit, even though in retrospect it wasn't that high-powered. But also I keep thinking like Tony for sure would have given Spider-Man a suit like that. And
Yeah.
because Tony would have given him a suit, it would have been that like full of like artificial intelligence and just kind of like different like powers and like the protocols and everything. And it's because like in the same way that people criticize like Hawkeye and a Black Widow, like they're actually humans, not superheroes. Like how can they defend themselves in the same way other Avengers can? It's like, yes, Peter has like crazy awesome abilities. He can climb on walls. He has like super strength and everything like that. But when it comes down to it, he needs to be able to be outfitted with something so that he can like, keep up with everything. And so, I mean, I like the suit. The only thing that I thought was kind of unnecessary was like the little wings that he got when he jumped off. But I mean, it worked. And I mean, it was kind of funny seeing all like the unnecessary parts, like the different like web things where it's like attack mode or like whatever. But I honestly thought it was just being Tony and going like overboard with like all the different functions that don't need to exist.
And he wasn't supposed to have access to that stuff yet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like the stuff that he did have access to, like, okay, so you know that scene when he was in class and making the web himself?
Yes.
So that one I didn't get. So was it him like adding to the suit, or was it he had to supply his own web or something?
All right. So I think you know how in the regular Spider-Man before this, like the webbing has seemed to always come from him, like it's a part of him. So I think
It's a
like even before he got the suit from even before he got the suit from Tony, like he's been making that string to go along with the ugly costume, or whatever else he was wearing before that, to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, whatever. He could climb and everything, but I guess the webbing was something that wasn't biological anymore in this version. In this version, like he has to make it himself, and I like that because, like we were talking about before, he's at that smart school. So even though he's not making his own costume, he made the webbing to go with it, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So
for
I thought it
sure.
was really cool.
Yeah, and then also that would mean that he is actually, even if he didn't have the suit, he would be still be able to do something. And that's why
Yep.
I feel like I don't understand the criticism for it.
Um,
Was there anything specifically, just like the function of it, or the fact that it was so like crazy? Um,
like they didn't like the idea of it being a suit, just like the Iron Man suit. They wanted
mm,
it to be just the regular old suit he used to have in the old movies, old cartoons, where it was just an outfit and he had the powers himself. Like he didn't need the suit to do anything.
okay, yeah.
And that was fine because in this movie we saw him without the suit. Like he was still able to take down a lot of criminals without the suit. So he
Mhm.
proved himself.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
give him the
God,
suit
but
back because I like the
yeah.
AI.
Yeah. The whole thing when Tony was just like, give me the suit, you no longer need it. Like obviously that was like it's gonna be have a huge like climax at the end. But at the
Yeah.
end when like after Vulture had the building fall down on him and he was just like, help, and then he was like, no, I can do this on my own. I have to do this on my own. I was crying in the theater. I was
Yeah.
like, you can do it. Yeah. I
That was
know.
a great scene.
Yeah. My goodness. It was really interesting, especially let's talk about how Peter tried to save the Vulture when he was trying to get away with I guess the goods at the end of the movie.
Okay, so that's just a part of who Peter's character is. Even though this guy had threatened him and had hurt different people, like Peter's not a character that is going to kill anybody yet. We haven't seen him cross that line. I don't see us seeing him cross that line anytime soon. Like he's still a kid, and I don't want to see him have to do that. We see that with the grown-up Avengers, and he's definitely not there.
Mm-mm.
So that and the fact that it's Michael Keaton and Michael Keaton's Vulture has been amazing, and I want to see more of him, especially because I think they're going to go and do the Sinister Six. So
Yes, I've actually heard of that. Yeah, they will.
yep, and he's going to be a part of that. So that's going to be great.
Yeah. And so I think the biggest thing why I like the Vulture so much is because for him, family is paramount and he'll do whatever to protect it. So at the very end, when he like bumps into like that villain that supposedly has ties to Spider-Man, but we don't know who he is. Unless do you know who he is?
Oh no.
Okay.
I just know he was one of the guys on the ferry, like during that whole thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, this is why usually I watch these movies like more than once because the first time I'm just like but like I thought it was really really interesting that when he had the opportunity to basically say, I know, yes, I do know the identity of Peter Parker. He decided not to go for it because he knew that would expose his daughter to like all the bad stuff that may go down. And so that's what I really liked because ultimately, even though he is a really bad guy, he like disintegrated a guy and he was like, okay, that's just what happened.
One, that guy was a total douchebag.
Yeah.
That he disintegrated. And two, I agree with you. He did it to protect his family and his daughter, but I also think he did it to protect Peter a little bit. He maybe have felt a little indebted to Peter because Peter did save his life.
Yeah. That his whole crew, the Vulture's crew, was also very, very interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Especially the guy who was like obsessed with what was it? High velocity whatever.
Yeah, the thing that helped them take over Tony's ship, right?
Yeah. I thought that was
the Tinkerer. He's called the Tinkerer.
Yeah. So I thought it was just really funny. And the guy that ended up being disintegrated, like he didn't fit in with the rest of the crew to begin with. Like, he was like, when he first showed up, he's like, I'm late to the job or whatever. But yeah. So, I mean, I didn't really mind when he went away, which sounds horrible.
Not at all. He was talking smack. Like, are you seriously doing this right now?
Yeah, no. But yeah, so I'm excited that the Vulture's going to come back. That's really cool. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so things that you didn't like. Did we talk about this already?
We talked about Happy.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so a scene that you didn't like then. Let's talk about that.
Remember when I said I really love this movie? I didn't really have a scene that I disliked. It's just that I would have wanted more, like more Donald Glover. That's awesome. I can't really think of anything I disliked about this movie. I came out of the theater smiling. I was very happy. I was laughing, and we had this great theater where it was Dolby Digital, And so the surround sound was awesome, and our seats, like, it would vibrate every time there was an explosion or something.
Dude,
So
what?
yeah, I had just such a fantastic experience in this movie. I enjoyed all of it. I can't think of a bad scene.
Yeah. I think when I was thinking about this question, I also had trouble with it, and that's why the only thing I could come up with is the fact that Zendaya had such little screen time.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did not like that.
And also, it was just kind of, it was interesting, I guess, that. Oh, and then this is what we'll segue and talk about MJ. But I don't know, she was always kind of around, but wasn't really important. And for the entire time, I thought she was gonna be Mary Jane. And I guess that little twist at the end when her name is Michelle instead of Mary Jane, I was just like, okay. But I was like, with all this kind of like hoopla around her getting this role, if they're setting her up for like the next like movie 2 and movie 3 or whatever, it was just very disappointing. I was so excited for her to be way more important in this movie.
Yeah, initially I took the whole thing where they renamed her Michelle, right?
Yes.
To just be, yeah, I took it to be just an update on the name because you don't run into too many Mary Janes these days.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, if we didn't already know her as MJ in this, and they were just keeping her in their hats, that was fine. But I'm a little disappointed because we know, like, Mary Jane, MJ is such a big figure in Peter's life. So is this meaning that we're gonna get another MJ later on? Or is Michelle a replacement for the MJ in his life? And I can see that happening. I know there was already a lot of stuff already happening. He had his whole love interest with Liz going on, and he was growing as Spider-Man. So as disappointed as I am that we didn't get more with Zendaya, it kind of, for me, was okay because we didn't need the movie to be too overstuffed, because we've seen movies where they're trying to do this, and that.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, too distracted. I felt like it was a lot tighter, like, as a movie this way. And we'll be able to explore more with Zendaya's MJ next time around, and the next 2 movies or 3 movies or however many more we're getting. I know they have a lot more plotted out, so that's cool. And them calling her MJ at the end, or her saying, my friends call me MJ at the end, was a nice little shout out to say, oh yeah, see, I'm going to be around and I'm going to do more. But then of course the producers telling us later, oh yeah, that's not MJ Watson. Sorry guys. So
yeah,
I was disappointed about that for sure.
I mean, yeah, it would be interesting if they decided to go with that purposely, so that she would be a distinct character from Mary Jane Watson. But I'm just like, I don't know. It's like, it's basically as if you're saying that Clark Kent wouldn't have Lois Lane. I mean, obviously, it's not that perfect.
Oh no, it's the same. No, it's the same thing. Like, all these characters they have, who their love interest is supposed to be. Barry has Iris West. Yes. And Lois and Clark, like, they're iconic. And we know that Peter, like, we've always known that Peter has Gwen when he's younger. So are we going to meet another Gwen? And then he has MJ. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I think it's also really interesting to think in the context that I didn't realize that calling it Spider-Man Homecoming was supposed to be like an homage to like 80s movies. I was like, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's like a very John Hughes influenced. And so I guess it would kind of make sense in that, because John Hughes movies is always kind of about like their characters are butting against like stereotypes and kind of discovering themselves outside of the whole realm of like growing pains and whatever like that. So it kind of makes sense in that context, but at the same time I was just like, I love Zendaya and you put her in for like maybe 15 minutes total, and I was like, you can do better. They'll
do better next time, I promise.
Yeah.
You have no choice but to do better. This is just a setup. Can I say how much I love the fact that Aunt May knows?
Yes. Oh my God.
Now?
I know.
One of my gripes is always the fact with Clark Kent, like, you go for years of this dude disappearing and you not being suspicious at all, and him just having a little curl, and like, you're fooled by that. And of course it's different for Aunt May and Spider-Man. He had the costume on and everything, but this kid is just disappearing at all hours and you're not worried or thinking something else is going on. So the fact that she's gonna see that and know something, know what's up now, like, that just makes me happy.
Yeah, it's just,
and hopefully we get more with her.
Yeah, it was just
awesome.
The best way to end that movie. She's like, what the fuck? Yeah. So funny.
She was an
Yeah.
awesome Aunt May.
Yeah, she was. And like I know that like the running joke is that with each successive Spider-Man, Aunt May gets younger and younger.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense because like I don't know, just like someone who is youngish and like closer in age
Mhm.
would make it a little bit more understandable why for if he's like running around everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, she wouldn't because I feel like if it was like someone the same age as Tobey Maguire's Aunt May,
Mhm.
that version, like she would just be like constantly freaked out that he wasn't there
Yeah.
or anything like that. Also, I don't know, do you know why there was no Uncle Ben in this one?
I don't know. That was going to be one of the things that I was going to say I kind of didn't like. I like the fact that we didn't have to go through the whole let's kill Uncle Ben all over again,
Mhm.
but like they could have mentioned him at least a little bit. I think they wanted to get away from that whole thing of seeing Uncle Ben die for like a third time or a
Yeah.
billionth time, like we've seen before. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
So
they didn't have to cut it out completely.
I know, yeah. Like the one thing that I really liked about this version is that it's not an origin story. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, there's been so many, we've
Yep.
already got them, and it's good.
Yep.
But so I'm like wondering if Uncle Ben's gonna be popping up elsewhere, because also even if he would have been like a character who was not mentioned, if
Mhm.
he had the same impact on Tom Holland's Peter Parker as like the other ones, then you would think that they would mention him, or there would be like random pictures of him around,
Exactly.
or
We didn't
something.
get any pictures. It felt like Tony kind of replaced Uncle Ben in this movie.
Ah, yes.
Maybe that's why, like, you can't have the two. Like, he looks up to Tony, as we've seen in the past. Like Peter Parker look up to Uncle Ben's character. So maybe that's why they did it.
Yeah.
Maybe Uncle Ben is out there somewhere in the world, and he'll pop up and meet Aunt May,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they won't kill him this time.
I know, yeah. I really hope that they don't do like a weird twist where they have Uncle Ben's like an actual like a villain or something. It's like, no, no,
God,
we don't need
like,
this.
let's not do that, and let's not kill Aunt May.
No, Aunt May needs to stay alive for this entire thing and just be like the person who's just like, why is Tony Stark like having my son like my nephew be like running around and being dangerous?
I wouldn't mind if Pepper really did went away and he hooked up with Aunt May.
I know,
Just
seriously.
saying.
It's like, oh my God. Like I said, only you. Oh my God. They have like the
Yes.
best chemistry. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you were a big fan of the comic books, Tony Stark. So I haven't read a lot of the Spider-Man comic books, but did Tony Stark play a similar character as he did in the movie?
Um, I did not.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan of all the comic books, the cartoons.
Oh, the cartoons. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to ask one of our resident comic book guys or gal,
Yeah.
and they'll let us know. Or anybody watching this, you guys can type in the bottom and let us know what you think.
Yeah, for sure. Because that would be really interesting. Because I know that didn't Stan Lee go on record saying that this was one of his favorite Spider-Man like film adaptations of it or something? Because it was very in tone.
Yeah, I didn't read that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Also, this was one of the few Stan Lee cameos that I felt worked without seeming too forced.
Yeah. There's too many of them where it seems like they just threw it in there for it to be in there, but this felt right.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so and then that reminds me because the second after credit thing was one of Captain America's like
oh my god
PSAs or whatever. Let's talk about those for a second. They were hysterical.
They were like, I didn't expect to see Cap at all in this movie, and the fact that we kept seeing him on the video and what was it, the gym teacher or the health teacher, like watch this, just watch this, like look at this. Yeah. And like I love Chris Evans so much. Like he's one of my. I love all the Chris's, but like, he's one of my.
Yeah.
Like, having Cap in this, like I needed more. Like give me more.
Yeah, for sure. It was just so funny because like, especially when they started like before the gym class and like Cap like pointed at here and then the teacher was here. It was like that was done for like comedic effect, but I was like, that's really funny and really accurate because I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, I think truly did that on purpose. And I love the fact that we were told to stay for 2 credits, and then that was the credit.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, wait, that's it?
Yeah, it was really good. I honestly thought that one of the credits was gonna be, you know, how he had like the animated credits or whatever that looked really funky. I thought that was gonna be it. So I was really happy that we got actually 2 scenes for it.
That
so
would
that
be
was
cool.
good. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else that you want to discuss about Spider-Man? Things you didn't like? Oh, overall impression. So I know that you said that this is Tom Holland is not your new favorite Spider-Man, right?
Well, he's getting there. The more we see him, like I like the whole ensemble that we're getting. I like Ned, and I even like Flash. Like he's an interesting character too. So
Yeah. I
I
just
like, yeah,
thought it was, of course, he would be a DJ. I was
of
like,
course,
he's gonna be the bully and the like runner up for the decathlon, and then of course he's gonna be the DJ.
yeah. And I like that they showcase bullying in this. I know bullying is a huge thing these days, and they kind of confronted it a little bit, but not enough. Like Peter should have been able to have a scene with Flash, like stop this, cut this shit out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like the way that Andrew Garfield did it in the first movie, I think, where he was basically being like, "You're not scaring anyone. You're just being like a
Right.
giant jerk." Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But yeah, so that was interesting. That was an interesting turn. But
Yeah.
also, I think it was just really funny that after they won the decathlon, Flash, like when he was trying to get out of the elevator, he's like, "Take the trophy first, and then I will follow." Yeah, that was like something that he would definitely do. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
And I liked him. I like seeing him out of his element as Spidey, like running through the neighborhood and like just unable to get his web to connect with anything.
Oh my
Usually
god,
we
that
see him
was
in
so
the
funny.
city. Yeah, so that was really funny. And I'm just like I'm enjoying him in high school right now, but I can't wait to see him grow up a little bit more because I've heard that they want to try to get Ice Cube as Jonah Jameson.
What?
Yes. So I would love to see that.
That would be the most different
Yeah.
variation of Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
That I'm like trying to imagine that. I don't know. That's like great. Well, I mean, because like, I don't know. That's really cool. Because I know that
Grumpy Grouch.
the what?
We've seen him play a Grumpy Grouch before.
Oh yeah, definitely. Who has like zero patience or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I wonder because like you know how everything as him doing Spider-Man and everything is like shrouded in like the Stark Industries internship or something. Then there's also no way that they can take away him being like the reporter and photographer for the Daily Bugle, right?
Right.
There's no way.
Well, they may have to go digital with it. He can still be the photographer though. So yeah,
He has to
they
be.
can make it work.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'm like really excited, just like what to imagine, what would happen, like in future movies and stuff.
We've got some time. I think the next movie doesn't even come out until after Infinity War.
I think so, like 2020 something.
Yeah, and he's going to be in Infinity War a lot.
Yeah, and then I did like how what is it? We got his version of what happened when they brought Peter in Civil War.
Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah. Like, come on, kid.
I know. Yeah, and I really want to know if since we only saw the back of like Black Widow and everything, if those were stand-ins or if that was actually Scarlett Johansson. It would have been hysterical if it was a stand-in. Yeah, I don't know.
That's really cool. Yeah. Are you videotaping this?
I know, right? Yeah, that's just so funny. Oh my god, dude, I need to rewatch this movie. It's just like bringing back all the different ones, my feelings and everything. But yeah, okay. All right, cool. Okay, so I think is that it? You think for what we want to talk about for this one?
I think so. Like just lots of great stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's setting up a lot of really interesting things that I think is going to reinvigorate. Even though this is one of my favorite kind of like superhero worlds or whatever that exists and everything, I think having Peter Parker actually be part of the Marvel universe is going to be good. The filmic Marvel universe, I mean.
For sure. So where does this one land for you?
Let's see. So I went in thinking that there was no way it's going to be as good as everyone else thought it was going to be good.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because usually I'm not like so anti-public opinion or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a lot better. I think because we actually saw him have relationships with everyone other than like the villain. I'm so glad it wasn't the Green Goblin. I'm so sick of the Green Goblin. Oh my god, so sick. But yeah, so because of that, I want to say definitely the Tobey Maguire ones are still like way bottom. I want to say Andrew Garfield is the first one is still gonna be my favorite so far, and then this one is like a very close second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. After repeated viewings, it may change, but as of right now.
Yeah. Like I feel like I need to rewatch them again before I make a declaration about that.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's no way that I'm gonna rewatch the Tobey Maguire ones because even though
Ever.
I love Kristen Dunst, like I don't need to. No, I don't need to. But I will definitely watch the Amazing Spider-Man and then rewatch this one for sure.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us this afternoon. I hope you had as good of a time listening as we had doing this. So before we say bye, Jen, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at JenDev. You can also find me in Brad and Court Talk Pure Fandom on Facebook. Also, we have a Van Helsing Pure Fandom Facebook group as well, so check that out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, very, very cool. You can find me on Twitter. It's Blueberry Jelly. And I write just random things on Pure Fandom. You can just find me by my name tag. And then, yeah, so make sure to check out the rest of the goodies that we have on the Pure Fandom YouTube channel, especially this weekend. We have a lot of really, really cool panels and a lot of just like recaps of stuff that we heard on the website. So the website is www.purefandom.com. Our Twitter is at pure_fandom. That's the same for Instagram as well. And then our Facebook page which is where we have like short little videos and everything on this, is going to be facebook.com/bepurefandom, all in one word. And yeah. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye.
Bye.